Hey everybody, it's Diana again, and I'm sitting here with retired OPP officer and safety ambassador to Diamond and Diamond, Mr. Cam Woolley, and of course our managing partner, Miss Sandra Ziskind.
According to Toronto, they are dangerous and unlawful, but you see them everywhere. So there's really two levels here. There's the provincial legislation that sets the standards for the vehicle, and then municipalities, for example, they are allowed in Brampton, and they're actually pretty sharp there. They have some rental units that are smart, that actually won't operate in areas where they're not allowed. They shut down. And in areas that are supposed to slow down, they'll automatically shut down. So there are some technology things. But one of the big problems is that the province set the standards I mentioned, but the people selling them are completely ignoring it. And I actually went through the Facebook market and looked. There's a huge number of them are too powerful and too fast. So here's the problem. If you follow the provincial rules, you do not need a driver's license, registration, or insurance. Right. If you don't, it may be considered basically an electric motorcycle. So this is where people can start to get into problems. Right. Safety-wise, they are risky. The small wheels and upright stance, according to doctors and engineers, the injury rate is way higher than bicycles. They're not particularly safe. If you follow the rules, there's lots of people that commute and in safety. But the problem is most people don't know the rules. The dealers are pretty bad. They won't tell you.
Because they're so expensive. They
want to sell the expensive ones that don't meet the standards, and they won't tell you up front that they're not legal.
Right.
If you ask, they often say, don't worry about it. The cops don't do anything. You should call your city councilor. Toronto is stupid. That's basically what they're saying. Right. And there's some degree of truth. In the past, the police have not, in most jurisdictions, haven't been enforcing e-scooter rules too hard.
Right. In Ottawa, Windsor, Brampton, you're saying if they see it,
they're allowed in parts of York region, Durham, like just about everywhere. They haven't been a priority.
Right. It's specifically the municipality of Toronto.
In Toronto, they're not legal. So here's where you run into some problems. Is the dealers saying, "Don't worry, you won't get caught." Well, that's changing, and because of all the injuries, we've got the doctors from sick children. They have, by the way, a record year for kids injuries, and you have to be a minimum 16 to ride it. So a lot of these parents don't even know they're giving them to young people, and then when the kid's injured, or in some cases, I can think of one was killed, they're terrified to find out. Right. So what's going on now is the police traffic units are being trained.
Right.
So your chances of getting caught are going up. Now, if there's an incident, that's just like an insurance. Yeah. Then you're fine until something happens, and then the police are gonna, even if the cops that show up don't know an e-scooter from anything else, they're gonna call the traffic copper, who's gonna come over and go, that's legal or it's not. It doesn't matter the jurisdiction. In Toronto, they're not. Period. So that's gonna be a liability issue for injury. So if you're riding your e-scooter fairly properly and you get into an incident, well, it was banned in the first place, so it's going to affect liability. Most people, you don't have to have insurance, and if you've got no assets and everything, okay. But if you're a homeowner or a parent and your kid's riding it, it's a huge problem.
It's a problem. There's a ton of injuries that are with these e-scooters, and it's becoming such a difficult thing for us.
Average age group that we're getting in?
It's everything. We're seeing it, everything from adults to children. Everybody is doing it, like Cam said, because it's true. It's inexpensive. You don't need gas. You can get around quicker. You can move around quicker. Yeah. If you have mobility issues, we're seeing it with some people who have mobility issues, you just hop on the scooter and you can get there quicker. The problem is, exactly like what Cam said, is that with a regular scooter, it's considered like a bicycle. Bicycles, scooters that go by the definition, and pedestrians are all grouped together.
Right.
So those three things do not need automobile insurance. Those three things on the road are innocent parties.
Okay, you're talking about like a little kid scooter, like one of the little...
I'm talking about any scooter as long as it goes by. Like let's say you're in Ottawa where a scooter's legal, it goes to the maximum speed it's allowed. If it has all those regulations, you're the same, you're considered the same under the law as a bicycle or a pedestrian.
Okay.
So your insurance is the same. You are an innocent party. And there's a reverse onus, which means if somebody hits you, the other person is deemed guilty. Oh. Yeah, they're guilty until proven innocent. The other way around. So with the insurance, in terms of insurance. So you hit a pedestrian, you are guilty until proven innocent.
When
so
you
that's
say hit a pedestrian, you're saying, everybody that falls under that
pedestrian.
category.
So it's a pedestrian walking on the street, a person just walking on the street, a bicyclist, or a scooter under the provisions that are legal.
Got it.
Now, what Cam is saying is 100% correct. These scooters never stay to this. It's the speed. It's always the speed that's the worst.
Yeah.
They always crank it up to go at a higher speed. And that's when the accidents inevitably happen, because these things are not meant for speed, and they're not, you need to be trained at a higher speed, and you need to have certain protective gear, and they never have it. Never. So the issues are very bad accidents are happening at this very bad speed. And then what's happening is the person's coming to us and saying, hey, I want to sue the car that hit me. Now you can't sue.
Because you're just equally as liable.
Correct. Well, now that you've put the speed above the legal amount, you are now a motor vehicle under the policy, and you need your own insurance.
How do we know that people are adjusting it though? Like I want to be very clear about this. Like how we go about, like how do the police, how do you as a personal injury lawyer or as police officers, how do you guys figure out that they've adjusted it?
Oh well, the police. Cam can speak to this. How you
well,
know?
A lot of them are just blatantly obvious because of the scooter model, the size and weight. You look it up.
Got it.
Oh, that's the Razor 9000, and it's got a 1,000-watt motor, and it can go 68 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, there's some it's going to be tricky where the people are modifying themselves.
Right.
If there's a serious injury or fatality, I can see somebody doing some engineering on it. But
Right.
if you've got one of the little cheapy ones and you've tweaked it a little bit, you probably won't get caught. But if there's some way to quantify the speed, there's problems.
Right, and when there's a serious injury or fatality, the police do an extensive reconstruction report, so they will look at those very closely. So they'll look at those details. 100%.
Hey, your client, or hey.
Well, they'll put it on the police report, and then the minute we get the police report and we're seeing, like Cam was saying, that the scooter was going 50 kilometers an hour. So now you're not at fault. You're a scooter, you're going 50 kilometers an hour, you're hit by a car because the car is being an idiot. The car makes, let's say, a left turn into you or rear ends you or whatever.
And you're doing everything right.
And you're doing everything right.
You're on the road. You're the
everything is correct except for the 50 kilometers an hour. The fact that you went over 50 kilometers an hour, you now are on a vehicle that is a vehicle under the Motor Vehicle Act, covered under the Motor Vehicle Act, and you do not have insurance. So you now are an uninsured motor vehicleist. So you are not entitled to sue.
Could you sue the dealer? Because these dealers aren't telling the people up front.
Question.
Yes.
That's where I'd be going after these dealers, because they're pushing them. They're downplaying it. They're telling people, buy it anyway and just complain to your city council.
Also, why are they selling scooters that are going above a posted?
Well, actually, just look online at any of these scooter places. Look at the ones that are more than 500 watts and go more than 24 kilometers an hour. They'll say in stock. You phone them. Oh, yeah. They don't tell you, well, technically it's a motorcycle, ma'am or sir.
And then you're going to need insurance on it.
As I have called a bunch of them for fun and said, oh, you have this? Yeah. Sir, do I need anything? Nope. Well, aren't the cops bothering you? Don't worry about that. They don't know anything about it. And that was true. A few years ago, but that is changing. So
I would have no issue.
These things are a big problem.
You know me, Kim. I sue everyone. I'm very non-prejudicial that way. I'm really good that way. So I would be very, very happy to sue those people that sold them the companies. The problem is a lot of the ones I came into download or figure out modifications at home.
They've done it
themselves.
They've souped it up.
And
what for? Why do you need to go that fast?
Well, with those tiny wheels, it's just not forgiving.
It's not forgiving, and it causes so many problems and so many issues.
Well, we should just mention this because once people start monkeying with them, they have these lithium batteries, and we keep hearing about lithium batteries and fires. And if you alter, these things were designed to do a certain speed. Yeah. If you increase the load on the charging system battery of the motor, you may create a fire risk. The other thing is the batteries only last so long. They're expensive. People start modifying them or replacing them with batteries from other units. or the wrong charger, and that's been the root cause of some very serious fires.
Yeah.
So there's that whole safety issue. Yeah, you can
Not
fall
only
off,
can you
but
injure yourself, you can light yourself
especially
on fire.
if you're buying.
Literally,
well, if you're
light
buying one
yourself
of these things used, and you do. Is have a look online at the ones for sale,
Right.
and they'll
I
often
know.
say, "Oh, missing charger." When it says missing charger, and one said Granny threw it out,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
probably stolen because
Yeah.
they also Granny threw out the bill of sale for
Correct.
it, and the serial number seems to have fallen off
That
too.
granny.
Now here's
So he's up
Always
to no
blame Grandma.
good.
so, but remember again, it's a vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're driving a vehicle with the serial number removed. If you're driving a car and the serial number's been chiseled off,
It's the same
cops
thing.
are coming down on you. And these things, people, oh, it's just a scooter. Well, if the scooter is illegal, if the police think it should have been insured and all those things, it could get impounded,
Well, and
you
that-
could get big fines.
Now
Like we're
think about a
talking 5-6
situation,
grand.
100%. Think about a situation where you're on one of these illegal scooters going 50 or 60. You go,
Not me.
not you. I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
You mow into a pedestrian.
That's happened.
You are not covered under insurance.
Okay.
You get sued. You're personally on the hook. They can come after your house, after your assets, your whole thing. So this is not only a protection in terms of anything else. The whole point of having insurance is for those accidents that happen, for things that are unforeseen, for things that go wrong. So if the same way you wouldn't drive a car without insurance is the same way you don't drive a scooter without insurance. And then people say, well, what do you mean I can't sue?
Right.
What do you mean I can't sue? The law is very, very perfect in the sense that it says we will not reward people for their bad behavior. You do not get the benefit of a lawsuit if you do not pay insurance. The same way, like you can't get out your CPP if you didn't contribute to your CPP, it's the same sort of thing. If you got proper insurance, you're entitled to a lawsuit.
Right.
If you do not, you cannot.
So parents, if you give your 15 or 14-year-old kid the scooter,
Correct.
you're accepting liability too because it cannot be insured.
Right.
Could you do that if that was the case? If you scooter guy without insurance, 50 kilometers over, hits a pedestrian, could you sue? Could you sue the guy's like a family's insurance, or if they have an auto policy?
Again, you can. The problem is that most insurances specifically exclude these type of vehicles because it's illegal. They don't insure illegal vehicles,
But
and
you
this is
sue
an illegal
everybody,
videos.
so you're going to sue everybody.
Listen, I mean,
You sue everybody.
we go, but I'm just saying the insurance will vitiate they won't cover you.
They're just
Yeah,
gonna
so if you
say,
have a house
"Good
and a
luck, Chuck."
job
Yeah.
and you give your kid a scooter,
Yeah.
you're exposing yourself to massive liability.
100%.
Even if there's some sort of coverage, it's gone because it's not legal.
Right.
They won't cover it if they're breaking the bylaw or the provincial legislation.
What's hilarious to me is as much as we fight insurance companies, we encourage people all the time.
All the time.
Get insurance. It is critical, mandatory.
It's
and
so
it'll save your
important.
butt time and time again in those
As
instances.
a copper, I used to find people, and a car guy.
Yeah.
I go to car shows every week, and there's always people talking about insurance or quote how they beat it. And remember, they're pretty easy to beat an insurance company until there's a claim.
Correct.
And then
Always
they're going to
until.
they don't
Correct.
put that much effort to verify whatever BS you told them in the first place. Like,
100%.
I didn't modify it. If it crashes, they are going to put some effort into not paying it. And if they
100%.
can find the smallest reason to bail on you.
They'll bail.
And another point too that I think Sandra has touched on in the past is the insurance companies all talk to each
Right.
other. So it's the old I didn't quit, I didn't get fired, I quit.
Yes.
So if insurance company A dumps you, insurance company B doesn't want you either.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you become basically uninsurable. So
or you have
if-
to pay an exorbitant amount
Oh,
of money.
Exorbitant amount of
Like
money.
crazy amounts of money to be covered.
You basically want to be careful, or if you think that might be coming, you might be best to quit before you get fired, shall we say?
100%.
Right,
And I'll tell you something. My colleagues on the other side that do insurance defense
Yeah.
are not stupid. They're all very educated, very smart people. They've done this a million times.
Right.
They've seen it a million times. You're not putting anything past them. And they're hired by your insurance companies. They're hired to defend you. But if they see a reason for the insurance company to save a little money
Yeah.
and not cover you,
Out.
you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
And they're probably canceling your policy.
Correct.
And now nobody's going to want you.
Right.
And and that's
Because
this whole
you're
thing about
reckless.
if you're disclosing or if you're not disclosing that you have a G2 in the house, or you're claiming that somebody is a occasional driver when they're going to school every day.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days. Now they're going to have it on your neighbor's doorbell video that the kids drive in the car
Correct.
every day.
Yeah. To be just to be as transparent as possible. And in any case, and with any insurance, be it your home insurance, your auto policy, just be transparent with them because they will find out as we come to learn. Through your contacts, though, at the police, do we know if they're issuing tickets? Do we
Yes.
on these
Oh,
e-scooter
yeah.
guys?
Yeah, they are.
They're getting them,
especially if
they're
there's especially when there's an injury. If
All
one, then they're looking. But the traffic people have been in right across the province. Different police departments have different levels of training, but generally the traffic specialty officers have been trained or are being trained on e-scooters and e-bikes on the rules, and they're starting to get strict, and they're handing out tickets. There's bylaw tickets, and there's also provincial offenses, and as we've talked about, if you've got one of these big, heavy, powerful ones, that's basically a motorcycle, and where's your motorcycle license, where's your license plates, where's your insurance?
Got it.
That's right.
And so that's $6,000
So
right
if
there.
there is a law-abiding citizen out there that needs to get an e-scooter for these micro transportation
they're-
things
they're
that you're
good.
saying, what should they do? Should they call their municipality first?
Yes.
Like they have the one that.
Well, there's
falls
a
in-
few things you should do.
Yeah.
First of all, check with your municipality or wherever you're going to be using
Okay.
it. What if you live in Etobicoke and work in Mississauga? Well, you can't even legally use it in
Right.
Etobicoke.
Correct.
But also what I suggest is have a look at the route. Is there a bike lane
Right.
or a safe way to
Okay.
go? Because you can't go on the sidewalk, and you're also not allowed on any high-speed roads with these
Right.
these things. So those are some of the considerations. You should also get insurance because if you accidentally hit a
case.
pedestrian or some drunk walks out, whatever,
Yeah.
you don't want to put your livelihood and your house at
100%.
risk.
Would you recommend that people get insurance even if it doesn't go over the speeds or whatever?
I
or to
I
inquire?
recommend that you disclose everything to your insurance company and you have a record that you've disclosed it. I always like riders. I like things like that because then the insurance company can't say, "Well, you never told us." That's
Yeah.
that's the classic defense of the insurance company is, "Had you told us, we wouldn't have insured you." And by the way, that's the law.
And if you don't tell, there's a lot of things now, like, and I know we're doing lots of dog bites here at Diamonds. There's insurance companies are now asking, do you have a dog in the house?
Correct.
And, people, oh, no. And then maybe they don't, but then they get one and they didn't ask me again.
Right.
They're going to say, well, you failed to disclose it. Even if it's a little one,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
You have a duty to disclose, an ongoing duty to disclose to your insurance company. So whatever you're doing that could cause any harm, you should be disclosing to
If
your
we
insurance
didn't
company.
say it enough.
Yeah, and there may
Today.
be, and some of the stuff's not expensive
Yes,
too.
yes.
The insurance for the e-scooters, some companies actually won't deal with
it,
them,
period.
but other ones, it's just it's a rider, and it's going to cost you $3 a month or something.
Okay, so check with municipality. Check the route to make sure there's bike
Make sure there's
lanes.
somewhere that you
Call
use
your
it.
insurance company
Yes.
just to make sure if they can give you coverage or not, and maybe. Probably always get safety gear if you're going to go that route.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Helmet,
100%.
Now,
pads,
just a
leather
note,
jacket.
I think we better mention that. Yeah, people sort of giggle. There's in my community, there's some old guys on e-bikes that are dressed up like Harley Davidson,
Right,
Hells
right,
Angels,
right.
and they got the full helmets and all the gear, and kind of giggle, but it's actually pretty smart
It's the
because the little
smartest thing.
bicycle helmets
Yes.
are basically good if you fall, but in e-bikes you're going forward. The doctors are telling me it's a lot of facial injuries,
Right.
but those little bicycle helmets only absorb so much energy, and you get out your calculator. So if you're in a collision at more than 24 kilometers an hour or
Ouch.
in a collision with a car, those little toy helmets,
Don't help.
no,
Nothing at all.
they become less and less effective to basically zero, and you're
That's
still
it.
dead.
All right. Well, I hope we covered everything because we've talked about this topic to death at this point, and we've covered everything we could possibly cover. To summarize, and as Cam and Sandra keep reiterating, check with your insurance company first and foremost, and just follow the laws. Follow the laws of your municipality. It's super important. You're going to save yourself a ton of headaches and most definitely any injuries.